Hey guys, CryptoDad here again. Thanks for joining me on the Friday night live stream Q&A live from Michigan, where you can throw out questions. We'll talk about Bitcoin, we'll talk about the markets, we'll talk about news, and we'll have a good time. So thanks for joining me. Let's jump in. All right, thank you for joining. Welcome to my lair here next to my rig, which I'm very proud of. And tonight I kind of wanted to focus on the crypto custody issue. It seems to be in the news quite a bit, so I've got some news stories related to that issue, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what crypto custody means on a third party's end and on your end. And I'm hoping that those of you who join me on a regular basis, those of you who are joining me now, I can convince you that it's better to hold crypto on your own, private keys. There's always a place for third-party custody solutions. You know, you have to buy and trade your cryptocurrency somewhere. But anyway, we'll talk more about the custody issue. So once again, thanks for joining me. Let's go over to our on-screen demo, and we'll hit that first news story. The first news story is basically the Bitcoin market here. We're kind of holding steady at where we were yesterday after a little bit of a dip. Now, we had about a $500 dip a few days back. It took a run up to about 91.50. I'm not sure exactly what day that was. And then it dropped back down to about 85. And then yesterday, or within the last 24 hours, it dropped down from about 85. And here's that $500 drop. That's the big one right there. But we were up around 91.50. And then took us down to about 86.50, and then we were kind of holding steady over the last few days, 87.50, and then we took another dip here over the last few days for various reasons. So here, that was about yesterday, less than 24 hours ago. We were down to about 82.79, and then we had a pretty good push today at a recovery, I guess you would call it, up above 85, and then now we're back down to our current level. So it's kind of been a rocky ride over the last week or so, but if you've been in this game for a while, you're pretty familiar with the ups and downs of the Bitcoin market. Let me go over here, pull out some new tabs here so I can keep tabs on everybody that's watching and kind of keep tabs on what's going on. Let's see where we are here. Let's go. Whoops, I always do that. I just click that way too soon before it's had a chance to. There we go. So we're live, and so I invite you first and foremost to check out the description field of this video. In the description field of this video are my affiliate links, the products that I use and believe in, and then down a little further are the news stories that I'm covering tonight so that you can follow the links and read the story on your own. And then below that, there's a lot of Ledger Nano X step-by-step tutorials, Ledger Nano S, Ledger Live, different things that you can store using the Ledger Live, Monero, Stellar. So check out these links down here below and, enjoy. So I'm going to pop out my chat so I can greet everybody here. Take it over to the other side. I see Scott Lee is here. I see CFI Randy is here. Grape Caper once again, thank you for joining. Joseph Stanusek, hello, thanks for joining. Sarah, thanks for joining you. Thank you. Therma, thanks for joining. Custody is what the Hawaii banks will allow with a new bill introduced. Thanks for pointing that out, Scott. I'm going to cover that story. I thought you would enjoy that story, being from Hawaii. And let's see. Oh, I need to get back over here. Sorry, guys. And let's see. Grand Illusion from Idaho is here. Yay. All right. Hello to everybody. Hello, JP. So the first one, this story is a couple days old. And this a little bit coincided with our dip. But I wouldn't really say that his remarks caused Bitcoin to dip, because Bitcoin was kind of making a push up around that time. Like I said, 9150, and I think it just had a pullback from being a little bit overbought. That's my theory. But a lot of people blame the pullback on his remarks. So Ray Dalio, big investment guy, was at the Davos, whatever you call it, that economic forum, right? The World Economic Forum. And he made some remarks about really more about the state of the world economy and banks, which is another thing that I talk about quite a bit in relation to Bitcoin. He advised that banks are a little bit too much debt, and that fiat currency is on shaky ground, and so he's sort of going for gold as a hedge against economic recession or pullback or outright collapse, whatever you want to call it. But he did mention Bitcoin, but negative, in a negative sense. He claims that Bitcoin is not money in the full sense of the word. I happen to disagree with him, but everyone's entitled to their opinion. He says it's not a medium of exchange, and it says money should be a medium of exchange and a store of wealth, and Bitcoin is not effective as either. I happen to disagree with that. Bitcoin is more and more becoming a store of wealth. His only claim to Bitcoin, his only argument against Bitcoin being a store of value is its volatility. But just because an asset is volatile does not mean that it is not a store of value. That just means that its market price is volatile. But if we look at the long-term chart of Bitcoin, you can see that it has been scoring or whatever lower lows each year. So it is a upwards trajectory if you look at the big picture. But yes, it is a volatile asset, right? But you know, just the fact that you might buy some Bitcoin today and it could lose a quarter of its value the next day doesn't mean that it's not a store of value long term. That's my opinion. And then medium of exchange, the argument here that he gave is that it's not being used, for people buying things. It's not really accepted. And part of that is because of its volatility. Merchants don't want to take the chance of being on the wrong side of a Bitcoin trade and accepting it. But that is also changing as we move forward. More and more companies and places are accepting Bitcoin as payment. But anyway, his comments were negative, but not like a total bash of Bitcoin. There are some other things that money should do that Bitcoin does very well. Bitcoin or money should be portable, right? Back in the day, people were didn't want to have to carry cows and chickens around if they wanted to buy finished products. So they needed something a little more portable, and sticks and stones and coins and paper fit the bill for portability. And I can't think of anything more portable than digital Bitcoin, right? It has no weight whatsoever. You can send it across the room or across the world with equal ease. So it definitely fits the bill in portability. And then we also have fungibility, which means that it's 1 is equal to 1. 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin. It does a pretty good job about that. With that, only it can be tainted by its history. So that impinges on its fungibility a little bit. But there are a lot of things that cash should be that Bitcoin fits the bill really well. Ease of use being another one. All right, so we're going to talk about ease of use in this custody discussion tonight. All right, so let's get over to the first one. We talked last week about Peter, who was it? Peter Schiff, who managed to lose all the Bitcoin he ever owned. Wow. We don't know really how much he had. He's a famous Bitcoin basher, so it probably wasn't, a lot of his net worth. Very small percentage, but he lost it because his wallet became corrupted. That's his story. Other people are accusing him of forgetting his password. He probably didn't. I don't know. I don't know how many times he was in and out of that wallet. A lot of times people are in and out of their wallets and then they don't realize that they have a password until they go to send some Bitcoin out. Then they're asked for the password, and if they haven't done that in a while, that might throw them that curveball where, oh my God, what's my password? But we'll just assume that he knew his password. The thing here was that I believe the most important thing is that he did not have the wallet backed up. And so if the wallet became corrupted, as he said, and even, he knew his password, if he had had the wallet backed up in some way or form, he would have been able to easily recover his Bitcoin. So, and that's really the subject of tonight. We're going to talk about cryptocurrency custody, right? And as it turns out, now the point of this particular article here is that CZ from Binance, the CEO of Binance, is saying that many hardcore crypto OGs advocate storing your own keys, but the truth is today most people are not able to secure a key even from themselves, losing it. A trusted centralized exchange is safer for most people. The numbers speak for themselves. So here we're seeing kind of the backwards argument, right? The argument for self-custody is that exchanges are vulnerable, exchanges are buggy, exchanges are, can get hacked, can get shut down. All sorts of things can happen to centralized exchanges because it is a central point of failure. And holding Bitcoin in your own wallet is much safer from hackers and thieves and governments and all that other stuff. But as we move forward with, as cryptocurrency evolves, it does seem that Bitcoin wallets are not getting much easier to use. You have to be mindful. You have to be rigorous. And that is really not what people in our modern society are. As our modern society gets more technologically advanced, people in general, not everybody, tend to become a little more, the word I'm looking for is lazy. It may not be lazy, but we tend to depend on others. We depend more on the system than we do on ourselves. People are not very self-reliant the way they were before, Even back, 100 years ago, people were growing food in their own gardens. People took care of themselves. But now we have a society that's more centralized where, we could just go to the grocery store to buy things. We have banks, we have credit cards. And if we forget numbers and we lose credit cards, we can get them replaced because the system is, we're relying on the system. So Bitcoin is a different animal. Bitcoin is asking us to be more self-reliant, right? Write down our own seed phrase. Keep it in a safe place. Don't forget our passwords, those sort of things. CZ Binance makes a pretty good point that more people are beginning to trust exchanges, and the exchanges are getting better as time moves on as well. All right, so let's check in with our old friend Scott in Hawaii. And Hawaii has just introduced a bill authorizing banks to offer crypto custody. So it's a new bill. It hasn't been, I don't believe it's been voted on or anything. It's just been introduced. It will go into a committee for discussion, and hopefully eventually it'll reach the Senate floor. Now, this is the state Senate of Hawaii, and it involves strengthening the rules and regulations for crypto custody and allowing banks to offer crypto custody services, which is pretty cool. And so hopefully when this happens, Hawaii will be a much more friendly crypto state in many respects. All right, and of course this involves KYC and anti-money laundering, so it does sort of get away from the, the libertarian, independent use of decentralized digital currencies by sort of kind of creating this system that makes it a little more centralized, right? At least more traceable and a little more regulated, right? But still, good news for people in Hawaii. Yay. Custody to banks is just IRS wanting to tax people's crypto. How stupid would it be to show the tax man what we've got? Good point, Scott. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of it is obvious that, they just want to know where our currencies are. They already know where all our texts and they already know where our money is, right? If our money's in a bank, it's pretty much, an open secret, right? And a government can subpoena a bank to find out what our balances are and what our transaction histories are if they need to. Yeah, that is, and to me, I see another trend here is that big institutions want to hold the crypto for you because now they're starting to see its value, and why not I hold it for you? And they're sort of taking the power away from us by holding it for us. And now here's another crypto custody story. Exchanges hold more Bitcoin than ever as Coinbase wallet nears 1 million BTC. So Coinbase has cold wallets where they keep their customers' Bitcoins. They hold a lot of coins, actually, but this story is just about their Bitcoin. And this is moving towards that mark of 1 million Bitcoin. As the trend grows, more and more people are trusting their crypto to third-party exchanges. One of them being Coinbase, which is a very reliable, trustworthy US-based exchange. All right. So I guess let me look and see if there's any questions, and let me just throw this out. What is your preference? Would you prefer to keep your Bitcoin in a safe place where someone is watching over it, like a bank or Coinbase, and have that ease of use? If you were to lose your password or whatever, you could call tech support and get your access back. Or do you think it's better, or would you prefer to hold it in a Bitcoin wallet where you control the private keys and have full access and full custody? So ponder that, throw out your answers, and I'm going to read some questions here and see if I can get caught up, right? Where is the best place to buy crypto with the lowest fee? I've found Cash App has a low fee. I would say for a while there, I was buying most of my Bitcoin through Cash App until I got hooked up with Crypto.com. Crypto.com is an iOS-based app that you can use to purchase crypto with fiat. You have to transfer money from your bank to your account. So it takes a little bit longer. It takes a couple days for the money to clear your bank before you can actually buy the crypto. So Cash App is probably the fastest way to purchase Bitcoin, and it's got pretty low fees. Now, some people claim that the price of Bitcoin in the Cash App is above market value consistently. So I don't know if that's intentional or what, but in practice, it makes it a little more expensive to buy your Bitcoin from them because their price of Bitcoin is slightly above market. I don't know if that's technically true or if it's just a trend, but I hear a lot of people say that, and you can sort of see it happen. So I would recommend Cash App for quick, low-fee Bitcoin purchases, but it's not that flexible because they only sell Bitcoin as far as I know. Crypto.com, you can buy a lot of different cryptocurrencies. You have to wait a couple days. Coinbase is a good place to buy crypto, but and you can buy it immediately, but their fees are a bit higher, right? You can use a debit card with your Coinbase account to buy crypto, and you can do that immediately. You can also use a bank transfer, which is a little cheaper, but also takes a few days to clear if you're starting from scratch, right? I'm just talking about someone starting from scratch, maybe a weekly buy. But let's just say you're patient and rich, and you transfer a couple grand into Coinbase, and you let it sit for a while until you're ready to buy some crypto. And then once the money's in your account, you can buy and sell at will. But most people say, hey, I just got paid. Let me buy some groceries, pay the bills, and stack a few sats with my extra money. And so you're in a position of having to buy crypto with your fiat on a fairly regular basis. So let's log into Coinbase just so we can get a chance to, let's see, whoops, here we go. We'll get logged into Coinbase. I use a password manager and two-factor authentication. All right. Look at that. All right, so we're set up there. And then let's also log into Binance US. I got a little bit of money to play with in there. And then I'm also going to show you guys those two apps I was talking about. I gotta let this sync. Okay. All right, so we're in those. Now I wanted to kind of show you what we were talking about. Okay, so the Cash App is, the Cash App is that green one with the $sign down there below. And using the Cash App, when you set up the Cash App, you'll, I believe, you'll connect your debit card or bank to it. I can't remember if it's which it is. I think it's just a debit card. And so when you do that, you can purchase Bitcoin. So they've rearranged the app a little bit since I used it on a regular basis. But that little squiggly line down there at the bottom, that's sort of their trading. And then you can buy stocks on this if you wanted to. But then they're up at the top, you can toggle it over to Bitcoin, right? So you could buy Bitcoin and, different amounts, right? So, and you can just buy it right there from the app. So basically what happens, though, when you buy it, it just comes right out of your bank, right? And I'm not going to do that tonight, but the fees aren't bad. And let's see, it says 83.03 is the current price of Bitcoin. Is that accurate? It looks like theirs is a little less, but let's refresh here. I don't know. Yeah, it looks like right at the moment the Cash App price of Bitcoin is slightly lower than what we see on the market, right? And it's a 50-cent fee, right? Now, if we were to do this on, if we were to buy, well, that's $10 worth of Bitcoin. But let's say we wanted to, let's do 50. Their fee on 50 would be $1.28. I believe the fee on $50 of Bitcoin in the Coinbase app would be around $2.99. So it's cheaper than using Coinbase, right? And then on Crypto.com, once you get Crypto.com set up and you're verified and everything, it's not that difficult. You can go over to your fiat wallet, and once you're in your fiat wallet, you can see mine is 0. So that little bar there that says US dollar, and then across from it, it says 0 US dollar. I can tap that. And then you see up there, there's like a little bank icon. I can tap that, and I can deposit money directly into their bank account, which is basically my Crypto.com account, using the routing number and account number. And I've got that set up in my banking app to where it makes it easy. I can just throw some money in there. But like I said, it takes a day or two for the money to clear and be available for you to make purchases. But once you've got that in your account, there would be a US dollar balance, and I could buy crypto with that. And their fees are really low, right? You just have to move some money in there and be ready to pull the trigger when you need to. So those are easy ways to buy crypto, and use what's, like I said, Cash App seems to be the easiest and cheapest, but it's only Bitcoin. And Crypto.com, I believe, has slightly lower fees with the cash purchases, but there's always going to be little fees in different places, right? So almost every cryptocurrency exchange will say, hey, we don't charge very much for trades, but then when you go to withdraw, you get a little withdrawal fee. So that's where you kind of, and Crypto.com, Binance US, Binance, even Coinbase, I believe, they're going to hit you with a transfer fees, or withdrawal fees. So keep in mind, there's going to be little fees all over the place. But if you invest 1,000 and you double your money and you want to withdraw your 1,000 in profit, you're not going to worry too much about a few bucks here and there, right? Okay. All right. So let me see what people are asking here. What's people in China will be a government does not quit screwing around with viruses. Okay. Where can you go for questions, problem with Ledger, MetaMask, etc.? That you've changed your Friday night. Now that you've changed your, how have I changed it? You can still ask questions if you want to. I didn't think I've changed anything with the Friday night platform. Yeah, that's like saying I won't buy Amazon at $1. Yeah. But now it would be a place to store BTC hard wallet. What's your take on Ripple going IPO? Well, we've always known that Ripple is not really a decentralized cryptocurrency. It's it's a private company. A large chunk of the Ripple tokens are owned, the XRP tokens are owned by Ripple. So it's not surprising that, they're going public. They're going to be a regularly traded company. But I think it's good for the crypto arena, right? In general, it's good PR for the crypto marketplace in general, right? And I guess Ripple's been beaten down pretty hard and lately price-wise, but you have to remember it's not really designed to be the everyday man's currency. They're a company, and their pitch is to banks. They want to help banks replace and upgrade their SWIFT systems to use their blockchain to make international and interbank transfers faster and easier and cheaper, right? So that's their business model. So they're not really, they're not trying to be a currency, really. They're trying to be a company that helps facilitate money transfers, and more power to them, right? I don't trust my credit union other than paying my bills. My silver is buried. Now if I could remember where. I deposited $1,000 on Coinbase on 115. It was immediately debit from Bank of A. Coinbase finally credited my account on 122. In this day of speed and blockchain, why does Coinbase hold your money for 7 days? Very good question, Tom T. Why do cryptocurrency exchanges hold your money for around 7 days? Now, there's different ways to get your money into Coinbase. One of them is a bank transfer, and that's the one that could take up to 7 days. And when you buy Bitcoin using your bank account, it feels like you're just buying the Bitcoin right then and there, and then they're just holding it, right? But really what's happening is they're waiting for your money to fully clear. And the reason that is because Bitcoin is a different animal than our normal world, right? If I go into a shop and I buy a hat, and then I go home with that hat, and then I decide I don't like that hat, and I come back the next day with my receipt, they'll give me my hat. They'll give me my money back, right? And if I go into that same store and I buy a hat with my credit card, and then I come back in the next day and they say, we're sorry, but we don't take returns, I can call my credit card company and reverse the charges, right? We're in a society where takebacks are the norm, right? I used to work at a computer store, and I was a salesperson. And whenever I would have a customer call and say he wanted to return a computer, what do you think would be the first question my boss would ask me? You would think it would be, oh, what's wrong with the computer or whatever. But the first question was always, did they pay cash or credit? Because they knew if the customer had paid with a credit card, that the sale was in jeopardy if the customer was dissatisfied, and that they probably would have to take or fix the problem. If the customer paid cash, they really didn't care, right? So, but that's the way Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is a one-way transaction. It's irreversible. So, if I buy Bitcoin on Coinbase using my bank account, and they immediately make that Bitcoin available to me, and I withdraw that Bitcoin, and then I call my bank and I say, reverse that charge, and the bank reverses that charge, Coinbase is SOL, right? And I'm an honest guy. Most of you are honest people. Unfortunately, not everybody is like that. And it's very easy to call your bank and convince them that they should stop payment on a check, stop payment on a transfer, all that kind of stuff. And that's why Coinbase holds your money so long, because they need to guarantee that there's no way that you can reverse that transaction, right? And I don't know why that takes a week, but apparently it does, right? Money can transfer like magic very fast, but you can always call your bank and reverse charges. You've got a window for that, and that's what that's all about. That's why they hold on to your Bitcoin until they've fully verified that money has cleared your bank and their bank, and it's definitely their money, and there's no way you can reverse charges. By the way, Binance US does the same thing. Binance US, if you transfer money from your bank, I'm sorry, I think they do that with a debit card. Maybe they do it with the bank too. If you use your debit card to buy on Binance US, and then you buy some Bitcoin, and then you try to withdraw it, they won't let you withdraw it until 7 days. Now you can trade all day. You could trade that Bitcoin for Ethereum, you could trade it for Litecoin, you can do all kinds of swaps and whatever, But if you try to withdraw, and you can, you know, if you they'll manage, they force you to keep that $50 worth of whatever it is in their account until that deposit that you made is fully cleared. That's just their way of bringing crypto to the real world, because crypto is an irreversible thing. Once they give it to you, they can't take it back. So that's why they want to make sure they have your money before you take it back. All right, let's launch Ledger Live. I just want you guys to have something to look at on the screen besides, well, I like this little snow thing is pretty cool too. Whoops. All right, so we're going to talk about our own wallets, and the one that I use quite a bit is the Ledger Live interface. But Ledger Live is an interface to the private keys that are held on the device, right? Some people call this a wallet. I would think of it more as a keychain, right? And I have custody of this crypto that we can see my balance right there. That's money that I'm holding in my own wallet. All right, let me just kind of go down here through some of the questions here. Scott likes Trezor. I have a Trezor tonight. I thought maybe we'd play around with that one a little bit because I always do the Ledger Live. Now, and then right, they took the money out of your bank account for sure. I get that, you know, but they don't want to give up that Bitcoin until they know that it's a done deal and there's no way you can reverse the charge. I get a lot of complaints about Coinbase in that respect. If you buy with the Cash App, where does it go? To the Ledger Nano, or is it saved once you buy it with the app? When you use the Cash App to buy Bitcoin, they are holding it on your behalf, just like a cryptocurrency exchange does. But you can withdraw it. So, if you looked at some of my old live streams, we used to do this, we go through this number quite a bit. Buy a little Bitcoin, right? And then after you're done, people can send you Bitcoin. Whoops, I'm not showing it, am I? People can send you Bitcoin, right? There's a BTC address there, right? So I can give someone my Bitcoin address of my Cash App, and you could send me Bitcoin directly to this address. Or I could withdraw the Bitcoin that I have in here to my own wallet. But when you buy it within Cash App and you have a balance of Bitcoin within Cash App, it's a custodial wallet, right? They're holding it on your behalf. So it's stored in their server somewhere, right? And they'll give it to you if you want to when you click withdrawal. That's how that works. Let's see. CFI Randy. CFI Randy's helping Sarah out. I saw Sarah. Sarah, you can leave your... Okay, so I'm answering questions that my fellow streamers have already answered. So that's great, guys. I'm glad you guys are jumping in with each other. Because they don't have coins. Hey, Rex, how can I tell which of my coins are on the Ledger S or the Ledger X? So the question would be, if you're in, that's another responsibility to a certain extent, right? I need to be mindful when I create. I created an account linked to my Ledger Black, right? And if I try to withdraw, I think it's 0 right now, so that's not going to do me much good. What'll happen is if I have the wrong ledger attached, when I try to move the Bitcoin out, it will tell me, oops, wrong device or passphrase. So if you're juggling two, then that's pretty meaningful, right? It just means that's the wrong device. You need to connect the other one, right? So Ledger will let you know if you attempt to send crypto out and you have the wrong device connected. But you can avoid that by, when you create the account, give it a name that's meaningful so that you know that it's associated with a different ledger. Like for me, the default is my ledger X, so I don't really have to differentiate any of these as X, because I know that they are X based, right? They're all based in this guy. But I do have one here that's not, which I have designated as the ledger S black, so that I know that this account is associated with the other ledger, right? So two ways. If you try to use the wrong one, Ledger will let you know. The other one is when you create the account, just make it meaningful. You can even go back, right? I can go back to this account and change the name. I could call this one Ethereum Ledger X if I wanted to make it more. You can always edit the names of your accounts. So you might want to kind of go through each one and decide which ledger it's associated with by testing. You know, try to send some crypto out and see what happens, right? You're going to get an error message if you've got the wrong ledger attached. And I think we've done that here before. Litecoin is down, that's for sure. All right. Can't transfer BCH directly from Ledger X to Coinbase Pro. Okay. Do all RC20 tokens store the same? Or ERC? Yeah, almost every ERC20 token can be stored in an Ethereum wallet, right? You don't have to always store all your ERC20 tokens in one Ethereum wallet, but you can see here I have an Ethereum account and it's got a lot of tokens in it, right? Those are ERC20 tokens. They're sub tokens of this wallet, but they all get transferred to this same address. And then you can see I also have another one. Oh, that's associated with the ledger S too, the other ledger. And it's got some tokens. Most of those are empty, right? But yes, they're all stored in Ethereum addresses, right? But you have to be careful. Some ERC20 tokens have graduated and they're no longer ERC20 tokens and they have their own blockchain now. So always be try to keep up to date on any crypto that you own that's an ERC20 token. Make sure that if it has graduated, that you do what needs to be done. You send it to the right type of address, or you swap it out, to get yourself upgraded if you've held it on a ledger, or if you've held it on MEW for a long time. Some people are still holding the old ERC20 Tron, and it's converted over to its own blockchain a long time ago. And there's a ERC20 BNB token, Binance token. That's no longer an ERC20 token. So just be aware if you've got any ERC20 tokens that some of them may have graduated now. And you need to be aware of that. All right, so we talked about, let's talk about the crypto custody thing a little bit. So we've got our Coinbase account, right? And we've got some Bitcoin in the Coinbase account, I guess, somewhere. Whoops, I guess I talked too long. It's all right. What we want to do here is, so you can see what I'm doing. I'm using my Google Authenticator to generate the code, and I have lots of codes in my Google Authenticator. There's Binance, or I'm sorry, Coinbase, 528727. All right, so there's Bitcoin. There's about $28 worth of Bitcoin. So, and Coinbase is holding that Bitcoin for me, right? That's basically their Bitcoin, right? It's the same as a bank, right? I think a lot of people, if they knew how banks worked, they probably wouldn't trust them. When you give your money to a bank, everyone seems to have this idea that there's a little cabinet back there with your name on it where they store your money, right? And then, and that's easy to imagine because whenever you want your money, they give it to you, right? But really, when you give your money to the bank, it is no longer your money. It is the bank's money. The only thing the bank gives you in return is a promise to pay you back if you ask for your money back. But that's not really the same thing, right? Because if there's a bank run and there's a line outside the door, at some point the bank will either fold or they'll put restrictions. There are countries like Lebanon where you can only take out $200 a week and you can't take out more than 100 at a time, right? So that makes it painfully obvious that it's really the bank's money, right? The bank can take that money that they have on deposit and they can invest it in, you know, hedge funds or credit default swaps or, you know, real estate. They can use that money however they want, right? And they might fold, right? So, so a cryptocurrency exchange is similar to that in that once you've bought the Bitcoin and it's on the exchange, it's really not your Bitcoin. I mean, you have a legal claim to it to a certain extent by virtue of the fact that you have an account and an ID and all that stuff. But if the exchange gets hacked, let's hope that they have enough insurance to cover everyone's losses. If the government comes in and shuts down Coinbase, you're out of luck, right? If, there's a lot of things that could happen. The IRS can seize the funds that you have in Coinbase if they think you owe back taxes or back child support or whatever, right? So it's really not your money when it's in an exchange. This is like crypto custody. All right, so let's take some out, all right? I want to send some Bitcoin. Where do I want to send it? Well, let's send it to my Ledger Nano S. Actually, why don't we go ahead and we'll do... Let's do the Trezor today, all right? I'm going to connect my Trezor. This is another type of hardware wallet, right? I'm going to connect that, right? And then what I need to do is go to the Trezor website. If I can find it. I sort of treat it as an exchange. I could just Google it. Get me in there somewhere. I believe that's it. Okay, cool. I've got the Trezor connected, don't I? All right, let's disconnect it and reconnect it, see if it... Don't have anything else connected. Tap to unlock. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So I'm going to... This guy, I have to enter the PIN. Hopefully I did that correctly. Good. All right. So basically what's happening is this is a keychain, right? And this wallet is reading my private keys from this device. Now the private keys never leave the device, all right? The private keys will sign transactions, but I'm really not worried about the private key at this moment. I just need the public address of this wallet. So all I want to do is receive some Bitcoin. So I'll just hit receive here. I'm not going to upgrade the firmware right now because I'm in the middle of a demo, right? And let's see here. We'll show the full address. Okay, there it is. And then we'll check the address on the Trezor. Let's look at that. You always want to do this fail-safe on every hardware wallet, right? The same with Ledger. Right? We always want to verify the address on the device to make sure that it matches the one we see on the screen. Pardon me. Right? And then once we've done that and we're satisfied, okay, do I have to, oh, right? And then I have to say, yeah, I get it. Right? I'm going to hit that little check. That's good. There. I'm just going to copy that into my clipboard. Let's see. We can turn this part off now. You've seen that? So, whenever you're sending Bitcoin to a hardware wallet or your own wallet, the first and foremost, you need that receiving address, right? So usually you can get that on the receive tab. Now you can generate multiple addresses, right? It's more safe and secure to have a multiple, use a new address for every transaction, right? So now we're going to go back over here to the send. It doesn't say withdrawal, it says send. All right, so there's the address. And if I click down here in the US dollar field, I can type it in or I can choose send max. I'm going to send max. I'm going to hit continue. And then it's going to ask me for my two-factor authentication. And you saw me earlier doing that. I've set up Google Authenticator as my second form of identification so that someone can't hack in remotely and do this. They need my phone, right? Something I know, my password, something I have, my phone, right? So let's hit that. Whoops. 140676 and hit confirm. I was running out of time there, but it says that the transaction is on its way. All right. And then we can go back to the overview. That's not what I want. I want to see my balance. Still says it's in there. Let's refresh here. All right, there it goes. So we're sending Bitcoin out, about $28 worth of Bitcoin. So it's pending on Coinbase. Now, remember, too, that when you withdraw from an exchange, there are internal things going on in exchanges that could take a while for the Bitcoin to actually exit the exchange and end up in your wallet. All right, so we can kind of look over here. Oh, it's already showed up here. So let's look here. Transactions, right? It's unconfirmed, but it has shown up in the Trezor. See, you can read the balance over here, $28.88. And it was today, right? January 24th. But it's still unconfirmed. Huh. Yeah. Oh, I guess there won't be a date on it till it fully confirms. All right, so that's a withdrawal from a custodial wallet to my own non-custodial wallet where I control the private key, right? The private key is stored on this device. Now, there are other types of custodial or non-custodial wallets. You don't have to run out and buy yourself, you know, a $50 piece or $79 or $119 hardware wallet, right? You can just go online and download your own software-based, desktop-based wallet to store your Bitcoin, right? So one of those is Electrum Bitcoin Wallet. So Electrum Bitcoin Wallet is desktop-based. It's safe and secure. You should back up wallets. Now, I can't remember. We did this live stream wallet. I didn't want to use. Don't want to have that same problem that I had before, where I accidentally created a wallet that I revealed the private keys. So I'll just. I don't know what I'm going to do. Oh, let's see. Well, I could just do default wallet. I don't think I gave that to anybody. Is that right? I may have chosen the wrong wallet there. I may have crashed it. Let's give it a minute. I'll close that. All right, let's try that again. That was the last one that I used. Oh, I cannot remember. All right, so why don't we just go through, let's just make a new one, right? So let's say we'll call this, we'll call that live stream new. So we can create a standard wallet. We'll hit next. And then it's going to create a seed for me. So I'm going to move it over here. All right. And you can create a SegWit or a legacy wallet. And then it gives me a 12-word seed. And let me do this. I've already done this. Deja vu. All right, and then after you have written down that 12-word seed, they want you to write it back down here. So I happen to have it. I'm going to paste it back in there. I'm cheating, as usual. Next. All right, and then they want me to create a password. So I'll go ahead and create a password. Oops. Let me start that again. All right, and so there we go. We got ourselves a nice little Bitcoin wallet that is private and secure on my own computer. And I've backed up the seed phrase, right? I have it written down and stored in a safe place. So I am in control of this wallet. I have full custody of this wallet. Right? And then we can run over to Binance US. Let's go buy some Bitcoin with that 15 bucks that we got. We'll hit trade. US dollar. I can go market and 100%, and I'll shave a little bit off to cover my fee. And there's my market order. And Binance US doesn't use that anymore. Huh. Okay. That was weird. I thought I only had $15 in there. I must have got a bonus or something while I was looking the other way. All right, so now I have $44.97. That's pretty cool. All right, so why don't we take that and put it in Ledger Live, right? So we'll put that in. Now this is a native SegWit address. Native SegWit is the newest address format for Bitcoin. And we're going to go through that same thing we did with the Trezor, where it's going to ask us to verify the address before we send. Right? Now, mind you, you could, once you've created an address on your Trezor or your Ledger Nano X or S, you could just keep it handy in a text file or something, or a barcode, and send to that address indefinitely, right? You could just keep piling into that same address. And that's fine. You'll get your Bitcoin, but it's not really that safe and secure to do that, because anyone that sees that receiving address can see how much Bitcoin you've got, how many transactions are in there, how much each transaction was. I was reading about that argument, that transparency argument, that, okay, if Bitcoin is transparent, what if you're negotiating with someone in a business and they can see that how much your other customers paid, right? You can't really, you'd have to be charging the same price. What if they wanted a discount because they could see how much, you know, like you say, pay me in Bitcoin, you give them your receiving address, and it's an open public address that has been used many times. They can see your balance, they can see, they'll say, wait a minute, I want to send you Bitcoin. You got a lot. How about if I send you half of what you asked me, you know? So it comes into negotiation, it comes into privacy, comes in, comes into someone can see how much you have and maybe decide to rip you off. So there's lots of reasons why we want to keep our transactions private. And they're not going to be totally private if we use Bitcoin, but if we use a new address each time, we're going to be better off, right? So I'm going to pull down here. We're going to do receive, and I'm going to do native SegWit. It's asking me to open up the Bitcoin app on my device. So I'm going to hit both buttons here. And then I'll hit continue. Hit continue one more time. And then there's the Bitcoin address on my device. And I can verify that it's the same one on my screen so that I know that this is a valid address. This public address that I see on the device is derived directly from my private key, so we know that that is a valid address. And then we just want to confirm that the software is not pulling tricks on us, right? So, but I do need to confirm that before I can move on, right? I'm going to move over one and hit approve, right? So now we're ready to receive the Bitcoin there, right? All right, so I'm just going to copy that address into my clipboard. Aren't I? I don't know what I'm doing there. Oh, it's because I'm in I'm in dark mode. I couldn't see that it was selected. All right, and then let's go back over here to Binance US and let's withdraw. Let's paste in the address. You guys have seen me do this so many times. I'm going to click over here to autofill the max. Going to hit submit. And then I'm going to use my Google Authenticator for Binance US. And there it is. I'm going to allow that to generate a new code. The codes expire in a few seconds, about 10-15 seconds. All right. And then it's going to send me a confirmation to tell me that I need to check my email for the email confirmation. This is another fail-safe on their end, right? They want to make sure that it's me, the same guy that controls the email. Let's go over here. All right, and there it is. Confirm. All right, so there we go. Now we can also chart this from Binance too. So if we go to withdrawal history, we can go from deposit to withdrawal and then from fiat to crypto. And there we can see my withdrawal processing. So I'm taking it off of this exchange. I'm moving it to my own wallet, my own hardware cryptocurrency based wallet where I control the private keys. All right, let me see if anybody has chimed in on custodial or non-custodial. Still holding Tron. I do still have some Tron. Not a huge fan of Tron. I always thought it would make me rich. Hasn't done so yet. Cal Capo is here. That's great. What do I use for crypto tax filing? I use Cointracker.com. There's a link to the Cointracker.com website down in the description below. I believe if we use this one, it won't show you. Whoops. Yeah. So I use Cointracker.com. I've used it in the past. I'll probably want to do some research this year to try to find if there's anything better out there. Cointracker does a great job if you pretty much use maybe one or two different exchanges and one or two wallets. But if you're like me and you've got lots of different wallets and you've got your cryptocurrency scattered all over the place and you're constantly moving it around in your videos and your demos, Cointracker has its limitations. There are certain cryptos that it doesn't support in the auto mode, right? So you kind of have to put in every transaction manually in those cases. If you use Coinbase and all your crypto's on Coinbase, oh, then Cointracker is right up your alley. All you got to do is set up Cointracker to read your Coinbase account. It's called an API. You basically give them access to your Coinbase transaction history, and they take all of your transactions and they calculate exactly how many capital gains you either got or lost on each and every transaction. It knows exactly the price of Bitcoin at that moment when you made the transaction. It calculates how much money you made or lost with every trade and will help you fill out your capital gains tax form, right? But they don't do your taxes completely. They may have like a full service now. But when I used it, they basically just did that one form for me and printed it out, and then I took it to my tax accountant and submitted it to him. But there may be others out there that are more full service. H&R Block might be a good way to do crypto these days. Who knows? They may be more savvy as we go forward with that. All right. Let's go down. PK, hi Rex, emailed you last night, could not connect, need link. Oh, Pat. Yes, I'm so sorry, Pat. I meant to email you early this morning about the Patreon Thursday night. Mr. David called in probably around 7:30, said he wasn't going to be there. I think I waited till about 8:10, and then I decided to just head on off to bed. So I apologize. Last night I could see you tried a couple of times. I will send you the new link. I thought that I had done that, but I will do it again. And next time, I'll just if we're on, then you know, I'll just invite you directly from within the chat. But I decided to redo the link because there were a lot. It was stale. You know, there were a lot of invites to people who weren't patrons anymore. You know, because I had set up a Google Calendar event, and so there were a lot of people that were getting the invitation that weren't patrons anymore. So I created a new event and only invited my current patrons. Anyway, little housekeeping there. No problem. Okay, need help with Gemini. Can't say I've ever paid taxes on crypto. Well, you know, I don't think, you know, depending on your situation. If you don't have that much, I wouldn't worry about it too much. If you are getting it through channels that can't really be traced, then I wouldn't worry about it too much. If you're like me and I'm pretty public, you know, I have this scenario in my mind where I get hauled into a IRS audit, and they start playing my old videos and pointing at my old videos and saying, hey, look, we can see on this video that you made in March of 2018 that you purchased, you know, 500 Stellar on that date, and we saw you put it in your wallet and you didn't declare it in your taxes, you know. What have you got to say for yourself, you know? So I try to do the best that I can. And, you know, I think the 2 years that I did have done taxes with crypto, you know, I'm not a rich man at the moment. And the crypto that I own, I'm pretty much holding. So really the only thing you get taxed on is the small trades that you make when you're swapping one crypto for another. And so over time, like in 2017, it really wasn't, neither year was really a big deal. I mean, it was, you know, less than 1,000 and much less than 1,000 in 2017. So it really wasn't a big deal for me to just go ahead and, you know, pay the taxes on that because, you know, I just wanted to be on the up and up because I'm a pretty public cryptocurrency holder. So, you know, do things at your own comfort level, right? If you are holding a bunch of Bitcoin and you get rich, and then you're going to start trying to figure out how you can spend it if you haven't been declaring it. That's the old money launderer's conundrum, right? The drug dealer, the arms dealer, whatever, you know, he's got all this cash. He doesn't know, he has to prove where he got it, or red flags are going to go up. Right? If he buys a Lamborghini or, you know, a fleet of snowmobiles and a mansion with a pool, people are going to wonder where he's getting his money. But if you've, you know, you've already claimed it and they know you've got it, and you've had it on for a couple of years or whatever, and then the price goes up, then you just pay your tax on it and move on with your life, right? Don't have to be looking over your shoulder. Or you move to Belize and you, you know, you, what do you call it? Deny your citizenship? Renounce your U.S. citizenship, right? Okay. Neg Gup, thank you for the compliment. Yes, oh yeah, and guys, remember to do the small amount first. That's always a good rule of thumb when you're dealing with crypto. Now, like I said, I think both of those transactions might take a while. Let's see here. So we got to go back to withdrawal in crypto. Yeah, so the BTC is still pending. The Coinbase says sent. So let's go look at Trezor. And, oh, I yanked it because I was doing the ledger. So let's yank that out. Interesting thing, you know, even if you want to check your balance on the Trezor, it has to be connected, right? It has to be connected for this app to work, right? Even if you're just reading your balance. It's a little tricky to get in there. Oh, we already knew that was there, right? That's, oh, right. Now see, it says green now. Or it's green now, and it says today, right? There's a date on there, right? Now it's confirmed, right? As a deposit. So yeah, so now we've got some in the Trezor. What else should we do? Okay. Randy, you don't owe me any pie, by the way. Randy had a question. Randy had a question which might be helpful to some of you. So he needed to know the public address of his Ripple for his taxes, right? So not too difficult with Ripple. Ripple is not really designed to be decentralized and, you know, overly private. You can create multiple Ripple accounts on your device, and if you did that, then you would have to provide multiple public addresses to your tax accountant. But in the case of Ripple, you can just go on a receive tab and look at your, what are we doing here? XRP. Oh, right. See, there's two, right? So that's my Ripple address, right? Pretty easy to get that. And that public address has a you know, a transaction history. I don't know if there's Ripple Explorer out there. There probably is. Right? The same with Bitcoin. But Bitcoin, you need like the pub key address. So let me see if I can. I'll do an empty one. Right, my donation address, which is empty. And I don't care if anybody knows that pub key. Right, so I need the public address of this wallet. What is that? So if we go to this little gear icon up here and we hit advanced logs, this xpub field here, this is the xpub key. It's a long bugger, right? Yeah. You would take that and provide that to your Cointracker.com. That's what I did before. But you have to do that for every wallet, right? So you can put multiple wallets in Coinbase. Oh, cripes. Oh, I forgot to remind you. I don't know if they're still open or not. Period. Let me just check something here, gang. Let's see if that alteration store is still open. Modern alterations. Modern alterations. There it is. It doesn't say whether it's open or closed. Doesn't have hours. Okay. Hey, Binance just said that the withdrawal was successful. You might want to just call them and see if they're still open. Period. If not, I can get someone to do it tomorrow, I guess. All right. All right, so now that we know that Binance has completed that, let's see if it came in over here. There we go. So we had $41 worth of Bitcoin came in. My driver forgot to do something. Okay, I'm going to send Lisa an email and ask her what she wants me to do. Don't worry about it. Hmm. Hi, Lisa. I just got a call from Demetria. She said she forgot to pick up your alterations this afternoon. Period. She was down at court when I gave her the run. Period. She just called them and they're closed now. Period. Should I arrange to have someone pick them up tomorrow or can they wait until Monday? Question mark. New line, Rex. My drivers do a lot of important stuff with the courts and the lawyers and all that, but they also run a few errands, and she forgot to stop by and pick up some alterations. And now it's too late. They're closed. Oh, dear. I'm working. Sorry, Josh. I apologize. I have a job, and I'm a dispatcher for a messenger service, and sometimes they interrupt my live stream. It's one of the hazards. My Tuesday morning rarely gets interrupted because I do that here in Michigan before the people in LA are awake. So, but yeah, Friday nights gets interrupted. Yes, I am, Josh. I have a job, and like I said, I get interrupted with work sometimes. I apologize. Okay. Ripple is a 20B company, very respectable. Okay. Well, the questions aren't really coming fast and furious tonight, so I got a little off track there. Usually around this time, I'm struggling to answer everybody's questions. Bitcoin hasn't really moved much since we started. Done a couple of transfers back and forth. I guess we could move that Bitcoin from the Trezor over to the Ledger. Why don't we do that? We'll do an outgoing. So let's see. Let's do our same receive here. Let's generate a new address. Gonna have to enter my PIN again. All right. And let's retry that and try that, and that's not happening. Let's do it that way. Seriously. Okay. Alright, let's try again. That thing, it was just not happy. I guess because I had that Trezor connected, and so it was still like, it just hadn't like got itself back. All right, you'll notice that's a different address than the first time. Right, so that's the part that keeps it safer and secure. Of course, I'm not very safe and secure because I'm revealing these sending addresses to multiple people, and you could just run those through the blockchain, but that's okay. Do as I say, not as I do. All right. Now, we've got that receiving address. Let's go back over to our Trezor. We're going to need to reconnect the Trezor. Unfortunately, that Trezor, this Trezor and that Ledger X are the same connector. Right? I don't have two USB-C cables handy at the moment. And there we go. Let's go ahead and empty that guy out. Let's hit send. Right, let's paste that address in there for my ledger. I can send the full amount there. We'll hit send. All right, now here's where I need to confirm on the device. So I'll confirm the sending here on the Trezor by hitting that green check mark. And then the last thing is, it wants me to hold that button to confirm. So I'm going to hold it. And then that's where it signs the transaction and allows the Bitcoin to go out. All right. So Bitcoin is controlled by private keys. So when you have a wallet, the private key is local to you. Private keys are not stored on the blockchain. Blockchain addresses have transaction histories and individual transactions and current balances and that sort of thing. But in order to move the Bitcoin, you need to send it a signed transaction, and the transactions are signed by your private keys, which are held on your devices. So let's look down here, and we should, that one should come through pretty quick. Yeah, see. When we send Bitcoin from one blockchain address to another with our own wallets, it does usually happens quite a bit faster than when we withdraw from an exchange or deposit to an exchange. So exchanges not only are less safe because you could lose access to your funds, they're also a little more, they're a little slower when it comes to moving crypto in and out of them. Now, they're ideal for cryptocurrency trading, right? Because they have a high liquidity and you can trade different cryptocurrencies on your exchange accounts. So in a trading sense, you're much better off keeping your crypto on the exchange, right? If long-term holding, you want to keep your crypto in your own wallet. All right, so let's see. If you chart BTC on a weekly chart, it has broken through a downline trend and it's dropping down to test that trend line. If it holds, it should bounce up. That's encouraging to me. I like encouraging news, PK. So if I bought one BTC for 10K, and then the price goes up to 15K, and I pay taxes on the gains, then BTC goes back to 10K, I just paid taxes without even gaining anything? Question mark. Yeah. Well, I don't think you have to pay taxes on the Bitcoin until you sell it, right? Just like a stock. So if I buy a stock for $1,000, I don't have to pay any capital gains unless I sell that stock and make a profit or incur a loss, right? So if Bitcoin goes up and down and I sell the Bitcoin and at 15K and then I pay the taxes on that 15K, I got 15K. Now I could, and then if I waited until Bitcoin went back down to 10K, then I could buy a Bitcoin, I could buy 15K worth of Bitcoin at the lower price. So, but yeah, I don't think you would pay taxes on the Bitcoin just because it went up. You'd have to actually sell it off before you owed any money. Yeah. I hope you didn't pay 10K for one Bitcoin. Hey, he might have, right? Bitcoin's been up at 10K within the last year. Bitcoin was 13K June of last year, I believe. And in 2017 and 18, there are a lot of people out there that maybe are still holding that bought it in 2017. Okay, guys, thanks for joining me. I'm sorry I got a little stuck there. I didn't have that much news to cover tonight. And I kind of went over the same stuff we've been through before, but I think a lot of people tune in just to see me do these things over and over so they can feel more comfortable doing them. And sorry I got interrupted with a work call. It happens quite often. So I apologize for that. Don't forget, we do this every Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please join me for the live stream every Friday night where you can throw out questions. We'll talk about the news. We'll talk about the markets. We'll talk about Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies and just finance and cryptography in general kind of stuff. I love it. Go back. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would appreciate it. When you subscribe, there's a little bell that you can click that will allow you to be alerted whenever I post new content. Once again, thanks for joining me and hope to see you again soon. Thanks, guys.